structure. Today we will discuss about the structure of atom. Now, what is atom? So, atom is the smallest particle of any material or element. Atom is the smallest particle of an element. Now, all the materials are composed of atoms. The atom are the building bricks of all matter or element. What is matter? Matter means anything which has mass and it occupies space. Now, the atom consists of central nucleus of positive charge, and around which small negatively charged particles called electrons revolve in a different paths. The path where these electrons revolve are called as orbits. Now we will see what is nucleus. It is the central part of an atom and it contains protons and neutrons. A proton is a positively charged particle, while the neutron has the same mass as proton but it has no charge. So proton is electrically positive charged and neutron is electrically neutral. Hence, the nucleus of atom is positively charged. The sum of protons and neutrons constitute the weight of an atom and hence called as atomic weight. So what is the meaning of atomic weight? Atomic weight means the addition, the sum of protons and neutrons. The extra nucleus part, that is electrons, have negligible weight as compared to protons or neutrons. Hence, the atomic weight is equals to the number of protons plus number of neutrons. Now, what is the meaning of extra nucleus? Extra nucleus is nothing but outer part of an atom and it contains electrons. Electrons are negatively charged. They have negligible mass. The charge of electron is equal but opposite to that of proton. Also, the number of electrons is equals to the number of protons in an atom under the ordinary condition, and hence atom is electrically neutral. Why atom is electrically neutral? Because the number of protons is equals to the number of electrons. Positive charge is equals to negative charge. Positively charged particles are protons. Negatively charged particles are electrons. Hence, atom is neutral, electrically neutral in nature. The number of electrons or protons in an atom is called as atomic number. So what is atomic number? It is the number of electrons or number of protons in an atom. So in this equation, atomic number is equals to number of protons or number of electrons. These electrons in an atom revolve around a nucleus in different orbits, as I have said earlier, but they revolve around the nucleus of an atom. There are many rules by which the orbit of electron is determined. So we will see the rules one by one. The number of electrons in any orbit is given by 2 small n raised to the power 2. So what is n? N is the number of orbit. For example, first orbit contains 2 into 1. This one means first orbit square. This is equals to 2 electrons. So the first orbit in which the electrons revolve will contains 2 electrons. So in any atom, the first orbit will have 2 electrons, maximum 2 electrons, maximum. Now the second orbit will contain maximum electrons 2 into 2 to the power 2, that is equals to 8 electrons. Third orbit contains 2 into 3 square, that is maximum 18 electrons, so on and so forth. So the first orbit will contain maximum 2 electrons, second orbit will contain maximum 8 electrons, third orbit will contain maximum 18 electrons, so on and so forth. The last orbit cannot have more than 8 electrons. So this is very important rule, that the last orbit in which the electrons revolve cannot have more than 8 electrons. The last but one orbit cannot have more than 18 electrons. So this is how a carbon atom looks like. So in this carbon atom, we can see that the central part, that is nucleus, consists of neutrons and protons. The atomic weight is equals to number of protons plus number of neutrons. The first orbit has 2 electrons. So this is electron 1, this is electron 2. The second orbit has 4 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. It has atomic number 6. So the electronic configuration will be 2, 4. This is just example how the carbon atom looks like. Now we will look copper atom. The atomic weight of the carbon atom is, the atomic weight of the copper atom is 64. So protons is equals to 29, neutrons equals to 35. So the electronic configuration is as follows. First orbit, it has 2 electrons, first, second. In the second orbit, we have 8 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In the third orbit, we have 18 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. And the last, this 1 electron means the atomic number is equals to number of electrons is equals to number of protons, 29. So the electronic configuration is 2, 8, that is 10, and again 18, that is 28, and this is 129. So as I have said earlier that the atomic weight of the copper atom is 64, atomic number is 29, number of electrons is equals to number of protons is equals to 29, and the number of neutrons is equals to atomic weight minus atomic number. that is 35. So this figure shows the structure of copper atom, and this is applicable for all the elements. So again I will repeat, the first orbit has 2 electrons, second orbit has 8 electrons, third orbit has 18 electrons, and the fourth orbit has 1 electron. So this is as per the electronic configuration. Now let us study about electron. Let us see its features and its characteristics. As I have said earlier, electron is negatively charged particle. It revolves around the nucleus within an atom. So electron is negatively charged particle having the negligible mass. Some of the important properties of electron are as follows. The charge of an electron is given by E is equals to 1.602 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 19 coulombs. So coulomb is the unit to measure the charge. Mass of electron is equals to m is equals to 9 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg, and the radius of electron is equals to r is equals to 1.9 into 10 to the power minus 15 meter. Now the ratio of charge to mass, that is E by m of electron is 1.77 into 10 to the power 11 coulombs per kg. What does it means? It means that the mass of electron is very small as compared to its charge, and it is because of this property of electron, it is very mobile, and it is greatly influenced by electric or magnetic field. So why the electrons are highly mobile? Because the electrons are highly mobile because the mass of electron is very small as compared to its electric charge, and hence it is very mobile in nature. It continuously moves, but it moves in a fixed orbit. But the orbit of the electrons or the movement of the electrons is greatly influenced by the electric or magnetic field, external electric or magnetic field. So the electrons can change their position if some external electric or magnetic field is applied to an atom. Next topic is energy of an electron. Now how much the electron is having the energy? So we will look into this using a suitable diagram. So this diagram, in this diagram we can see that the y-axis has energy level. These numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these numbers indicate the number of orbits. These pink colored dots represent the electrons, and these curves, the brown lines, indicates the path in which the electrons will revolve, and this is nothing but your nucleus. It consists of neutrons and protons. So the electrons moving around the nucleus possess two types of energy. First is the kinetic energy because of its motion, and potential energy due to its charge on the nucleus. So it has both kinetic and potential energy. The total energy of electron is the sum of these two energies. The energy of an electron increases as its distance from the nucleus increases. The energy of electron increases as its distance from the nucleus increases. Means what? As this distance from the nucleus is increasing, the outermost electrons have most of the energy. Thus, an electron in the second orbit possesses more energy than the electrons in the first orbit. Electron in the third orbit will have higher energy as compared to the second orbit. So in this picture, electron in the second orbit have more energy as compared to first orbit electron. Electrons in the third orbit will have more energy as compared to second. Fourth orbit electron will have more energy as compared to third orbit. Fifth orbit will have more energy as compared to fourth, third, second, and one, and so on and so forth. So this is how the energy of the electron increases as the orbits are increasing, as the distance from the nucleus is increasing. Hence, electrons in the last orbit possesses high energy as compared to electrons in the inner orbits. The last orbit electrons plays very important role in determining the physical, chemical and electrical properties of any material, of any element. So last orbit electrons are very important. This last orbit electrons are also called as valence electrons. The last orbit electrons are called as valence electrons, and these valence electrons is nothing but the valency. Now we will see what is valence electrons. The electrons in the outermost orbit of an atom are known as valence electrons, as I have said earlier. The outermost orbit can have maximum 8 electrons. Hence, the valency, maximum valency is 8. The valence electrons determine the physical and chemical properties of any material. What does it mean? It means that the valence electrons determine whether or not the material is chemically active, it is metal or non-metal, it is a gas or a solid. So this valency determines the type of element: metal, non-metal, gas, solid, semi-solid, etc. These valence electrons also determine the electrical properties of any material or any element. So, on the basis of electrical conductivity, the materials are generally classified as conductors, insulators, and semiconductors. On the basis of electrical conductivity, the materials are classified as conductors, insulators, and semiconductors. We will see one by one each in detail. So we can say that when the number of valence electrons of an atom is less than 4, that is half of maximum 8 electrons, the material is usually a metal and a conductor. So if the valency or the valence electrons is less than 4, the material or the element is metal or a conductor. Example is sodium, magnesium, aluminium, etc. We will see in the figure. So in this figure you can see that these are the examples of metals. Sodium is a metal, magnesium is a metal, aluminum is the metal. Atomic number of sodium 11, electronic configuration 2, 8 and 3. 2, 8 is 10 and this is 1. So the valence electron is less than 4. Magnesium atomic number is 12, electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 2. Valence electrons is 2, it is less than 4. Aluminum electronic configuration is, atomic number is 13, so the electronic configuration is 2, 8, that is 10 plus 3, so 3 is less than 4. So all these metals have valence electrons less than 4 and hence these are generally metals or conductors. So when the number of valence electrons of an atom is more than 4, the material is usually a non-metal and insulator. Previously I have said valence electrons less than 4, it is generally metal and conductor. Now if valence electrons are more than 4, then the element is a non-metal and insulator. Examples are nitrogen, sulfur, neon, etc. The atomic number is 5, 6 and 8. The valency is 5, 6 and 8 respectively. We will see in the diagram. So in this diagram we can see that the atomic number of nitrogen is 7. The electronic configuration is 2 and 5. So outermost orbit has 5 electrons, it is less than 8 but greater than 4. Sulfur, its electronic configuration is 2, 8, that is 10 and 6. Outermost orbit has 6 valence electrons, it is more than 4, less than 8. Neon, atomic number is 10, electronic configuration is 2, 8, that is 10. So this neon is the most stable element. Its last orbit is filled. As we have seen previously, the conditions of the orbits that determines the position, the orbit of an electron, that the outermost orbit cannot have more than 8 electrons. So maximum electrons in the outermost orbit are 8. So this neon is the most stable gas. Sulfur, atomic number is 16 and the valency is 6. Nitrogen, atomic number 7, the valency is 5. It is less than 8, more than 4. And now very important condition, when the number of valence electrons of an atom is exactly equal to 4, the material has both the properties of metals as well as non-metals, and hence they are usually called as semiconductors. So if the valence electrons in an atom is 4, that is exactly half of the maximum 8 electrons, the material is metal, or the material is in between a metal and non-metal. It has both the properties of metal and non-metal, and hence it is called as semiconductor. Examples of semiconductors are carbon, silicon and germanium. We will see in the figure. So as you can see, the electronic configuration of these elements, carbon, silicon and germanium, the atomic number of carbon is 6, electronic configuration 2, 4, Outermost orbit has 4 electrons. Silicon atomic number is 14. Electronic configuration is 2, 8, 4. Outermost orbit has 4 electrons. Germanium atomic number is 32. Electronic configuration is 2, 8, 18. And the outermost orbit is again 4. So all these elements are semiconductor because they have 4 electrons in the valence band. The valence band electrons are 4. The valency is 4. And hence the electrical properties are in between the metals and the non-metals. Now the next topic is free electrons. What is the meaning of free electrons? The valence electrons of different material possesses different energies. The greater the energy of the valence electrons, the lesser it is bound to the nucleus. What does it mean? It means that the outermost electrons are loosely bounded to the nucleus. Energy is high, but they are loosely bounded to the nucleus. Loosely bounded means they can be freed easily by the application of external electric or magnetic field. So in certain substances, particularly metals, the valence electrons possesses very much energy and they are very loosely attached to the nucleus. So in all the metals, almost all the metals, the valence electrons have high energy but they are loosely attached to the nucleus. So these loosely attached valence electrons move at random within the material and are called free electrons. So what is the meaning of free electrons? The loosely attached valence electrons that are moving randomly within the material are called as free electrons. We will see a diagram. What is the meaning of free electrons? So in this diagram, as you can see, this brown colored dot is a copper atom and these free electrons are moving randomly. So these free electrons are the valence electrons that are moving randomly within that element but outside the atom. And when potential difference or some external energy is applied to this material, to this element, they all are aligned in a one direction and they start flowing towards the opposite charge, and this movement of electrons constitutes current. Hence, moving electrons means the current flow. The current moves through the material that conducts the electricity. Hence, the valence electrons which are loosely attached to the nucleus are called as free electrons. These free electrons can be removed or detached easily by the application of external energy, a very small amount of external energy. These free electrons determine the electrical conductivity of the material or any element. So on this basis, conductors, insulators and semiconductors can be defined as follows. So what is a conductor? A conductor is a substance which has large number of free electrons. And when a potential difference is applied across the conductor, the free electrons move towards the positive terminal of a supply, and this constitutes the electric current, as I have shown previously in the. So when a potential difference is applied, The free electrons move, these are the free electrons, so they are moving in towards the positive direction. Here we have not shown the potential difference applied, but to represent it pictorially, you can see the electrons are moving in one direction. This arrow mark shows movement of the electrons. Insulator. So insulator is a substance which has practically no free electrons at ordinary room temperature. No free electrons means it is an insulator. Therefore, an insulator does not conduct current under the influence of potential difference because there are no free electrons. Now, what is a semiconductor? A semiconductor is a substance which has very few electrons at room temperature, and under the influence of the potential difference, a semiconductor practically conducts no current. So what does it mean? At room temperature, it has very few electrons. Under the influence of potential difference, practically it does not conduct any current. But when we apply sufficiently large amount of external field, say for example 0.7 volts for silicon, 0.3 volts, 0.3 volts for germanium, and above that voltage or potential difference, the semiconductor conducts current. We will see in detail. Now the key differences between the conductors, semiconductors and insulators. Conductors are the materials that transmit or conducts or allows heat or electricity to flow through them. The elements that may act as conductor as well as insulator under the different conditions are called as semiconductors. But insulators are the substances that does not allows the flow of current or heat through them. So once again I repeat, conductors are the materials which allows the flow of electricity or electric current or heat through them. Insulators are those materials which does not allow the flow of electric current through them. But what are semiconductors? The semiconductors are the materials which can act as a conductor as well as insulator under the different conditions. Conductors have very high conductivity and very low resistivity, while the semiconductors have moderate conductivity and insulators have negligible conductivity and high resistivity. Another term I want to define here is the forbidden gap. So what is the forbidden gap? The forbidden gap is the gap between the valence band and the conduction band. So this gap is not found in conductors. We will see in detail later on what is forbidden gap, how it looks like. I will show you in detail in next slides. There is a small forbidden gap in semiconductors and a very large gap in insulators. So what is the meaning of forbidden gap? It is the gap between the valence band and the conduction band. So there is no gap in the conductors, very small gap in semiconductors and very large gap in the insulators. What is the meaning of valence band? The band which contains valence electrons. What is the meaning of conduction band? The band which contains free electrons that will conduct the current. Next point is resistivity. The resistivity is very less or negligible in conductors. Resistivity is very high in insulators, but the resistivity is moderate in semiconductors. So what is mean of resistivity? It is the property of the resistance and to resist the flow of electric current. Conductivity. So on the basis of this values of conductivity, we can define conductors, insulators and semiconductors. So the unit of conductivity is mho per meter, MHO, mho per meter. Unit of resistivity is ohms per meter. So the substances, the elements whose conductivity is very high, that is 10 to the power -7 per meters, these materials are conductors. In semiconductors, the conductivity lies between 10 to the power -7 mho per meter to 10 to the power -13 mho per meter. And in insulators, the conductivity is very negligible. Next point is resistivity. The resistivity in conductors is less than 10 to the power 5 ohms meter. In semiconductors, the resistivity is in between 10 to the power -5 ohm meters to 10 to the power 5 ohm per meter. And in insulators, the resistivity is more than 10 to the power 5 ohms meter. Next point is bonding. So the conductors are formed by metallic bonding. Semiconductors are formed by covalent bonding, and insulators are formed by ionic bonding. So we don't have to go in details about this bonding. We will focus on covalent bonding. Covalent bonding means the sharing of the electrons. Examples of conductors, all the metals, for example, copper, iron, zinc, mercury, bronze, gold, platinum, these are all conductors. Silicon and germanium. Silicon, germanium are semiconductors, and mica, rubber, wood, wool, paper are insulators. Application of insulators. The most commonly used insulator is rubber. It is used as a protective covering for all the electrical wires, circuit boards. Plastic is again an insulator. Wood, woolen clothes, blankets, it is again insulators. These are used as a covering materials which does not allow any heat or electric energy to flow through it. Application of semiconductors. They are widely used for manufacturing all the electronic devices such as semiconductors, transistors. All the electronic devices are made of semiconductor. Without semiconductors and without especially extrinsic semiconductors. We will see in detail what is the meaning of extrinsic semiconductors. No electronic device can be made. All the devices such as industrial control equipments, communication, data processing, solid state devices, lasers, optical sensors, everything is made of semiconductors. Application of conductors: various metals are used in industries, in manufacturing of vehicles, in manufacturing of utensils, packing foods, etc., etc. All the conductors for making jewelry, for example, gold and silver, platinum, they are used for making the jewelries. They are also used, gold, silver and platinum are also used in integrated circuits because they are highly malleable and ductile. Some metals, some conductors like mercury are used in thermometers for measuring the temperature. And the most commonly used metal conductor element is copper, which is used in almost all electrical wires and system. So this is all about the applications of conductors, applications of semiconductors, and application of insulators.